Check in with the Dean, Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Marv. At 3:30 this morning, Michael Jordan woke up with flu-like symptoms. He had a stomach ache and a headache, and he couldn't go back to sleep. He threw up all night, and as reported earlier, he missed the shoot-around, but he was in bed all day and continued to throw up. As a matter of fact, he got in here early. When I went to talk to him back in the back room, he was in a dark room trying to get some rest, but still throwing up. And Marv, I talked to him, I said, how do you feel? He said, I really feel horrible. But his history in games where he's either been hurt or sick has been bad news for the opponent. And as you can see, he's ready to go tonight. Marv?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. And the Utah Jazz control the tip. Bill Oakes, Hugh Evans, Dan Crawford are the officials. The question is, how long can Jordan go, and how will Phil Jackson spot him during the course of the game? Nice pass from the line. With the first bucket of the game.
Marv, the key for Utah tonight is offense. The defense will be there. They got to get well over 100 points.
And a foul is called as Pippen made his move. He took the hit from Jeff Hornacek. The Chicago Bulls have not lost 3 straight games since the start of the 1990-91 season. The Bulls have not dropped 3 straight since January of '95, 2 months before Jordan returned to basketball. They have not dropped 3 in a row with Jordan since early in '90-91. And Hornacek with a quick second foul.
And the Bulls going to a strategy which was very unsuccessful in Game 4, and that was posting up Scottie Pippen. The Bulls got very little out of that, but started the game with that, and here comes Shandon Anderson.
Well, Shandon Anderson replacing Jeff Hornacek. Shandon with a very nice reception. He'd missed games 3 and 4, remaining with his family in Atlanta following the death of his father. His dad died last week after a long battle with throat cancer. Bill Oakes calling a 3-second violation.
And once again, trying to go inside to Scottie Pippen. In Game 4, they went 16 times on post-up for Scottie Pippen and only came away with 5 scores. Not a good percentage.
But you can't force that. Utah's going to sag in and clog it up. You got to take what's there. Try Jordan early. Get him interested.
Stockton taking Hopper into the corner. Malone played by Rodman at the start. Fired up a 3 to the air ball.
Too far out of his range there. I just don't think Carl had any idea what the shot clock was.
And Jordan trying to slip it and then took it back and hit. So Michael Jordan, despite visibly shaken by the flu symptoms, connecting from the corner to tie the game at 2.
You can see the look on his face and in his eyes. He is nowhere near himself, but still can be a very effective player.
No fadeaways there for Karl Malone. As far as Michael Jordan, they should set some hard picks on him.
Scottie, such an important play here tonight with Jordan struggling physically. The officials check it out with each other, and Dan Crawford, the outside referee, said last touch by Chicago.
I think in Hugh Evans you have the top referee, the one referee that every single player would like to see here each game in the finals.
Shandon Anderson, good-looking rookie from the University of Georgia, being guarded by Michael Jordan.
Ron Harper's defense on John Stockton will be critical for the Bulls.
Ostertag had it knocked away. Jordan to the crossover and lost it. Good play by Longley to break up that lead pass attempt. Stockton over. Yes. Utah 4, Chicago 2.
Why would you ever run away from a man with the ball in scoring position, and particularly John Stockton, who is certainly in the zone?
But Chicago's transition defense way out of whack there. The Utah Jazz have got so few running opportunities.
Look at Stockton again. So quick to the ball. Anticipation.
And here comes Russell. And on a switch by Hopper.
Get to the hoop here if you're Karl Malone.
Puts the ball on Rodman. And rebounded by Rodman.
A little different attack that time by Rodman. He kept his feet in Game 4. He was flopping on that play.
Pippen able to get that dribble alive once again. And they lost it. He thought he was fouled. There's Malone with Rodman back.
Numbers defensively for Chicago. Utah needs to play smart here. They're a little overexcited.
Russell for three. And Rodman rebounds and pops it down to Pippen. And as Rodman has been hearing it from the crowd reacting to those disparaging remarks concerning Mormons that Rodman made. And his teammates also not happy with the 2 trips that he took to Las Vegas in these 2 off days in between games 4 and 5.
On that last play, Karl Malone had excellent position on Rodman with him on his back. Just didn't make sure to catch the ball. But at the other end for Chicago, and we see Phil Jackson yelling, people are driving to the basket, trying to draw contact and getting some contact, but not getting to the foul line in game 4. Chicago only 5 for 12 from the line.
You can see the crowd reacting. They wanted a technical foul called on Phil Jackson, who was all over the official, Dan Crawford. Short, way off. Post attack, able to reach for it. And a foul. Well, apparently, ball was deflected out of bounds by Chicago. Will be Utah ball.
Well, we see the problems the Chicago Bulls are having offensively. Not enough running opportunities and poor execution in the half court. The result of all those numbers.
Or back to the Phil Jackson altercation with the referee. These referees are going to be extremely patient tonight. Nobody has gone over the edge at all in this series. Veteran players, veteran coaches. These refs are going to let the guys on the court decide it.
Harper was called for that foul. Here's the foul. Yes, it counts.
Again, it all comes from the pass by John Stockton. Malone works so well. Rodman picks up his first foul of the night. But no pressure. You see Harper's arms way down. And when you got that kind of position, there is absolutely nothing Dennis Rodman or anybody else can do against Karl Malone.
But Bill, the careless foul. Clearly Rodman was beaten on the good pass and position from Malone. You might as well just let him go at that point. But just a little nudge in the back certainly wasn't going to affect the shot of Karl Malone.
So now you're going to start saying that Dennis is a disciplined player?
I didn't say that.
Well, you said it was careless. That's
Matt, be very careful of the clever question. Brian Williams has checked in, replacing Luke Longley. It's Utah 7 and Chicago 2.
Marv, Utah's got the quick start that they needed to keep the crowd into it.
And Michael Jordan able to line drive it home for his second field goal. Jazz up by 3. 5 minutes gone by. Ron Harper playing with that bruised shoulder. Heard it 2 games ago. He's been very quiet offensively, but that time called for the block. And that's a quick 2 on Harper. And a quick timeout being called. Chicago will talk it over.
Michael Jordan coming into this game 5 clearly under the weather, but still out there giving an effort, getting high in the air as he goes to the baseline for the jumper. Then comes up short on this as the leg showing a little effect. Never got a good look at the basket there. And this time coming off under control, getting high in the air once again as Michael trying to find his offense.
But Michael's the only guy doing anything. He's got their only points in the game. Everybody else standing around. Somebody's got to get aggressive. This is an ugly offensive start for Chicago.
But I think they've got to like this tempo. Just as the other game was 78-73 in game 4, Chicago wants to keep it in the 70s or low 80s.
Stockton got the step. John Stockton coming off the brilliant finish on Sunday. Extends to a 9-4 Utah lead.
Smart play by John Stockton going at Harper with 2 fouls, and he let him go.
Jordan being played by Russell. Harper for 3. Yes. Ron Harper from downtown. It's the Jazz 9 and the Bulls 7.
The Bulls let Stockton get so deep before they really put any sort of body contact on him. Shannon Anderson can't find the range. He's going to have a big offensive game. Anderson and Russell are going to have to drill from outside.
Ryan Williams handling for the first time. Ryan Williams keeping it alive, and he drew the foul.
John Stockton, a big role for Ron Harper is trying to keep him pinned to the sideline and force him to the baseline. He does neither there, as when Harper straightened up, Stockton took advantage of the opportunity to go to the basket.
And if you look at John Stockton, the first 2 games of this series at Chicago, they lost them both. Really wasn't getting it done. But since they've got home to the friendly confines here in Salt Lake City, it's been all John Stockton.
Foul called on Shannon Anderson, putting Brian Williams at the line. Brian Williams has been a major contributor during the course of the playoffs. Now this the normal Jerry Sloan substitution. John Stockton gets the rest just past the midway point of the first quarter. And the 3-year guard from Boston College, Howard Isley, checks in.
On the last 2 plays, I saw something that I haven't seen very much of throughout this series. Dennis Rodman actually jumped for a rebound, wasn't in traffic at the defensive end, and then at the offensive end, he kept one alive for Brian Williams. That is a good sign for Chicago.
Well, the Jazz up 9-8. Isley handling against Steve Kerr, who just checked in. Steve Kerr had a long night, actually chasing around John Stockton in his 25 minutes in game number 4.
He's had a long series, Marv. Kerr, an excellent player, just no contributions.
It's kick ball, and a new 24 will be called. Kerr said after the game Sunday he was so exhausted he could barely see straight. He had spent so much time chasing Stockton around. He said it's not so much his sheer strength as it is the conditioning on the part of John Stockton.
And you should see Stockton work out in the weight room. Now, he's certainly not in Karl Malone's class, but...
Ball knocked away by Malone, but able to recover. And there is the first bucket for Shannon Anderson. The Jazz up by 3.
The initial offense for Utah has been a little shaky, but the scramble plays have worked for them. They've got to tighten it up at the beginning.
Pippen trying to protect it. Ostertag with a good play. And here comes Isley. Isley for Malone. Utah by 5.
That's the fast break that they need. Keyed by the defense. Ostertag, the outlet. Lots of guys running. Scotty trying to force here. Draws the foul.
Foul committed by Anderson off that fake.
Ostertag fading away, reaches in with those extremely long arms, gathers the ball up, and then finds Isley, who bobbles it himself. But you got 4 on 2, the spacing, the timing, runners behind the ball, perfect execution, Utah fast break.
Well, that was an opportunity for Dennis Rodman to take a hard foul and make Karl Malone earn them from the line. But at the other end, Chicago's offensive end, we see that effort to force things, trying to go to the basket, trying to draw fouls, not getting whistles at this point.
And Chris Morris has come on for Shannon Anderson and Jordan. He's been off.
That's a force, Marv. 2 guys on you, fading to your left.
Chris Morris just hit the deck, fell down at midcourt. Matchup is Pippen and Morris. Isley, nice move off the dribble to beat Kerr.
The set offense, everything clicking right now for Utah.
Here's Pippen for 3.
And the rebounds.
Phil Jackson wanted a timeout. He was very unhappy with the defense at the other end. And Scottie Pippen never saw the timeout signal.
They're on their feet here at the Delta Center. Shot clock at 4. Morris. Chicago needs a timeout. 3:25 remaining in the first.
the last possession by the Chicago Bulls in the midst of a Jazz run. Phil Jackson wanted a timeout. Michael Jordan was trying to call the timeout, but because of the noise and the confusion, not getting it, and Michael relaxing on defense, backing off the dangerous Chris Morris from the perimeter. And Phil Jackson not happy at all. He wanted that timeout.
9-0 run by Utah. Antoine Carr, on the other hand, extremely happy as his Jazz have hit 6 of their last 7 from the field. Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, during that last timeout, I asked the Jazz coaching staff if they have any plays designed to go after Michael Jordan because he's ill. I was told by the coaching staff that Jerry Sloan doesn't know that he's ill and doesn't want to know that he's ill, and he doesn't want his players to know. He wants them to play as though he's full 100% strength. Marv?
All right, thanks, Jim. From the coaching point of view, Matt, obviously that does make sense.
Well, you know, again, you don't want to, you always want to make Michael Jordan work defensively, but you don't want to take your team out of what they normally do.
Foul committed by Pippen. That is his first. We have 3 minutes to go in this first quarter, and the Jazz up by the count of 18-8. A reminder, after the game, we hope you tune into the live post-game interviews and broadcast straight from the Delta Center on NBA.com. That's the official website of the NBA.
Karl Malone at the line here for 2. Never foul a jump shooter, but Scottie Pippen is really struggling. He picked up his first foul on Karl's shot attempt. Karl Malone's free throws getting much better after the disappointment in game 1. More attempts and certainly the great percentage and the 2 clinchers in game 4. Scottie Pippen 0 for 3 tonight. That's 2 straight bad first quarters for Scottie.
Malone, as you saw, 5 of 6 in game 4, including the 2 clutch free throws right at the end of the game.
The look on Michael Jordan's face. He is so frustrated. He cannot give up offensive rebounds on missed free throws.
And for Jordan, that is his first foul.
And the man he is frustrated with is Brian Williams for not blocking out Greg Ostertag, as the Chicago Bulls making mistake after mistake now at both ends of the floor.
Matt, I know you were always shooting the free throws, but as a rebounder, you step up the lane toward the line, not to the basket. You come back to the basket after the miss.
I used to just try to grab onto their shorts and hold them.
Yes. Able to keep it alive. It's a 10-0 run by Utah. They lead 19-8. And they're doing it with John Stockton on the bench, getting a rest with Howard Eisley on the floor. Here's Eisley.
Look at Ostertag go to work.
And it leads to the foul call.
Well, this is just not a strong frontline duo for Chicago right now. Brian Williams has not been rebounding. He was involved in the defensive play, and Tony Kukoc has his problems defensively all the time. He's clearly wiped out of there by Greg Ostertag.
And Kukoc, who just came on, called for the foul, his first.
Matt, you mentioned not a strong front line for Chicago. I think that's what Karl Malone has failed to realize. Ostertag, a fine free throw shooter. Ostertag with the chest bump. But there's no Maurice Lucas on this front line. There's no Kevin McHale or Elvin Hayes that can slow down Karl Malone. He should just be killing these guys. This is Brian Williams and guys who can't guard anybody like Tony Kukoc.
Utah now up 21-8. Terrible pass by Kukoc. Retrieved by Pippen. Here's Kerr for 3. Pippen with the rebound. And the foul is called. Foul on Ostertag. That is his first.
And a sarcastic clap of the hands by Scottie Pippen, who has been begging for calls this whole first quarter, coming out with the mindset to take the ball to the basket, not getting the whistle this time, the little reach-in foul, and the sarcastic applause.
So it's now 21-9 Jazz. A reminder, tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern, 12/9 Pacific. NBC Sports proud to present the 97th U.S. Open, the first of 4 days of live network coverage. That'll be direct from the Congressional Country Club. First round coverage beginning tomorrow, 3 o'clock in the East, 12 noon Pacific, right here on NBC.
Marv Ostertag's having his first real positive contribution of the series. Carl continues to favor the outside shot as Kukoc has no clue what's going on.
Here's Morris. Well, Chris Morris has also been a contributor in this series. Chris Morris has had his ups and downs as a member of the New Jersey Nets and with head coach Jerry Sloan.
Well, you're right, Bill. You should never take your eye off the ball in that situation. But since he is not looking, Steve Kerr should never throw that pass. So it's both players at fault there. But a nice conversion by Chris Morris, able to adjust in the air and use the glass.
A 14-1 run by the Jazz. Brian Williams. Nice move by Williams. Crowd wanted to travel. Utah 23 and Chicago 11. The Utah Jazz looking to go up 3 games to 2 with game number 6 coming up in Chicago on Friday night. Here's Morris for 3, and the rebound comes to Kukoc.
Utah should post up Ostertag. Kukoc cannot stop him down low, and Ostertag's having a fine game.
Good head fake. Brian Williams hit from behind by Ostertag. So that's 2 on Greg Ostertag.
Well, Brian Williams down on the post, making a strong move to his offhand, the right hand, and using the glass nicely.
And then Ostertag just falls asleep. Brian Williams waited, and then when he sensed that Ostertag had already snored twice, he said, hey, drop step to the baseline.
And for Greg Ostertag, easily his best start in this NBA Finals series. Just sat down after picking up a second foul, but 5 points and 5 rebounds for Ostertag, replaced by Greg Foster, one of the heroes in Game 3 last Friday night.
Marv, Chicago has 11 points. Right? You know, we talked about them coming out with fire. We just haven't seen it. Jordan hit a couple early. Nothing since. It's been forced play. Utah's defense, very sharp.
Well, I said they wanted to keep the score down, but they wanted Utah to be a lot closer to them. You mentioned they should post Ostertag. They should also post Karl Malone. They've been almost going exclusively to the pick and roll, but they got mismatches galore inside.
Chuck Bushler on the floor for the first time, and he's defending on Morris. Here's Malone. Yes. Karl Malone with 7, and the Jazz 25. The Bulls 12.
What kind of defense is that? You double team and then both guys back on Scotty. Emphatic dunk.
And the foul. Scottie Pippen with the head fake and then drew the foul. It's on Malone.
Well, Scottie Pippen has been trying to get to that basket ever since the game started. Finally able to clear himself free of Chris Morris and then going up big time and challenging Karl Malone with a strong finish.
And he says that the injured left foot is feeling better. Still cannot penetrate the way he would like because he has problems planting the foot and then cutting to the basket. But he's begun to find the rhythm.
Matt, do you think Scotty lights up when he sees Chris Morris guarding him?
Foster block and foul. Well, Pippen got a piece of the ball and the hand.
Well, I see a little different Scottie Pippen just in the last minute or so since Michael Jordan has gone to the bench for a rest. Now it looks like he wants to take it on his shoulders at the offensive end, and they're making a good hustle play at the defensive end. And with Michael under the weather, not effective, Scotty is really going to have to lift it very high.
And for those who may have just tuned in, as we reported at the start, Michael Jordan suffering from flu symptoms, did not go to the shoot-around, sat out practice, up all last night, spent all day in bed, did not eat at all. And you can just see the look as he stepped onto the floor with the rest of his teammates as the Chicago Bulls took the floor some 10 minutes before 7 o'clock here in Salt Lake City.
But one thing that's held true in this series, Mark, for the Bulls, Scotty and Michael have not played well at the same time throughout the series.
Bushler had it knocked away. Kukoc on the recovery, and a foul. It's John Foster.
Good call. There was a big scramble for the wild ball. Foster came and bumped through everybody, put bodies on the floor.
The Jazz over the foul limit, and Brian Williams back to the line. So here are the Chicago Bulls, who spent very little time at the line the other night. In fact, they were 5 for 12 with 5 free throws, the second fewest in NBA Finals history.
Well, one of the most important things in playoff basketball, any basketball, is hustle after loose balls. Greg Foster grabbing on to the jersey of Brian Williams there, as in the early part of this first quarter, it was Utah out hustling the Bulls for loose balls. In the last couple of minutes, it's been Chicago.
And the Bulls are now 5 of 9 at the line. 20 seconds left in this first quarter. Some pressure being shown by Chicago, which has been a rare sight in this series.
Well, they usually bring it after made free throws. They haven't gone to the line.
And we're down to 5 seconds in the quarter. Isley from Malone. 1 and 6/10 seconds remaining in the quarter. Now Pippen fires. A fiery start for the Utah Jazz. It's the Jazz 29 and the Bulls 16. On to the second quarter. Marv Albert, Matt Jokic, Bill Walton. A look at 4 future Hall of Famers and the rundown thus far tonight. Karl Malone with a strong start. He's hit 4 of his first 8 for 9 points.
Karl Malone dominating the action early on the perimeter and in the paint, delivering against Dennis Rodman's porous defense, running the floor, his specialty. The jumper, something he's added this year in the last play to close the quarter. We talked about running them over and stepping on them. That's what Karl Malone has done in the first quarter. You love to see all those shot charts in the paint there. Forget the perimeter stuff, particularly that three-point one.
Utah 11 of 19 from the field in a red-hot opening quarter. Chicago just 5 for 15. Michael Jordan is back, putting the move on Chris Morris. So Jordan has 6 points, 3 of 6 from the field. A first quarter that saw at one stretch Utah go on a 14-1 run. John Stockton is back, as is Jeff Hornacek. Malone up front with Foster and Morris. The basket will count, and the foul.
Well, Michael Jordan coming out, resting the last couple of minutes of that first quarter. Just a little right to left move to easily shake Chris Morris.
But then Karl Malone comes right back. Stockton gets tied up with Kerr right there. They call the foul there on Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr very frustrated. John Stockton has a way of getting underneath their skin.
And Phil Jackson was saying yesterday that he was very upset with Steve Kerr for being manhandled by John Stockton in Game 4. He wanted Steve Kerr to be more physical and challenge John Stockton, but you just can't grab him around the neck.
Yes. Good point.
Thank you.
And a three-point play. The basket by Malone was good. The foul away from the ball. The free throw converted by Stockton. 32-18, Utah. The matchup is Foster defending on Kukoc. Here's Kerr. And a loose ball foul against the Bulls. It's on Bushler.
And now, Marv, for the first time, Karl Malone has gone to the bench, and Utah's got to find some offense. Antoine Carr had some good moments, needs one right here.
Antoine Carr putting the spin on Oklahoma. Well,
a tear of soup.
now Kukoc posting up. Jordan off the fake. Count would have. He'll go to the line for 2. So Michael Jordan, who did not go to the line incredibly at all the other night, will go to the free throw line right here. Here's Antoine Carr getting right to it.
Well, that high post offense for both Karl and Antoine Carr is wide open because the big guys for Chicago cannot guard on the perimeter.
So Michael Jordan, who in a rare occasion did not go to the free throw line at all the other night. Only the second time in his postseason career that he went an entire game without a free throw.
Well, the Chicago Bull offense, the triangle offense, is built on a lot of jump shots. And the Bulls have not been running a lot of pick and rolls, have not been getting driving opportunities for Jordan.
Oh, pretty pass to set it up for Carr.
That's the beauty of John Stockton, Marv. He plays 100% to make the other guys a star and only shoots when it's a desperate situation facing a loss.
Jordan. Brooks will try to keep it alive. Chris Morris done a nice job. And here's Stockton checking the floor and then putting the move on Kerr. Carr.
Every Jordan shot attempt has been off the dribble going to his left, except that one.
Tried to fade away. Foster with the rebound.
Well, the Chicago Bulls are going to so much one-on-one play. In fact, in the game, they only have 2 assists, so they're not running their offense. Passing has not been crisp. Just too many one-on-one shots.
Hornacek with the offensive board, and they get the new 24.
Matt, you talked about the one-on-one. The team game for Utah has been far superior since this series shifted to Salt Lake City. Terrible pass.
Well, John Stockton with a rare mistake. Draws the foul. Well, look at the snow-capped, majestic mountains here in Salt Lake City and our terrific views of Salt Lake City and the spectacular mountains here in Utah coming from the Miller Eagles.
John Stockton, one of the best pick-and-roll players in the history of basketball, and this play has been very good to the Jazz in the first halves of the last 2 games. That's an outstanding conversion. Second half, a little better defense. Here's Antoine Carr setting that pick for John Stockton, and then the roll to the basket, and poor rotation by Tony Kukoc enables Antoine Carr to get the nice little bounce pass up in the air before defense can react.
Michael Jordan looking exhausted here in the second quarter, playing with flu-like symptoms. Also looked exhausted in the fourth quarter the other night, although he was able to pick things up.
And that pick and roll has been very good to Utah, almost so much that they forgot to go to inside game because they're getting so many good scores out of any pick and roll with John Stockton or Howard Isley on the left side of the floor.
Michael Jordan's had to carry so much of the load as Hornacek back-to-back horrible turnovers for Utah.
And Jordan puts moves on Hornacek. So the Jazz now leading 36-24, and despite the physical conditions, the tough time that Michael Jordan has had because of the flu, he does have 12 points.
Tony Kukoc just ran over from the weak side just to get the ball out of Stockton's hands. You can see Utah scrambling now.
Nice fake. And Hornacek puts it away. That's his first field goal. The Jazz up 38-24. Kukoc for 3. And this the best spurt of the night by the Bulls. And it's a kickball, so they get the new 24.
And Marv, it starts with their defense for Chicago. Hornacek just throws one away. Harper gets it, and then this is a helpless situation. Jordan is going to score on any 3 guys guarding him there.
Bulls in the second quarter have outscored the Jazz 11-9, and Jordan has 8 of those 11 points. Hornacek off the fake. And Pippen able to glide in for the rebound. Jordan finding Longley, and the Jazz now leading by just 9.
That's Chicago Bull basketball. When they get a rebound or get a steal, get out and run and attack the basket. You saw Jordan put all kinds of pressure on John Stockton.
And Jerry Sloan coming right back with Karl Malone. He's seen enough of this offensive futility.
Stockton trying to force it, looking to get a foul call. Pippen went glass. The 16-point lead has been cut to 7. And Jerry Sloan calls for time.
Substitution, center switch, Foster out, Ostertag in. The biggest problem for Utah is they've stopped playing offense. Their defense is always going to be there. They got to get to the point where, hey, we're looking at 110 points per game, and Hugh Evans trying to tell everybody, let's quit the pushing and shoving and let's play basketball.
Evans came over to join Dan Crawford because Stockton and Harper were pushing on the lineup. Jordan to the crossover. Yes. Not bad for a guy playing with flu symptoms.
But give Utah some credit. They forced him left every single time. Jordan's going to score 30 or 40 points. There's no question about that.
And as Malone made his move, he was held. The Bulls in the midst of a 13-2 run.
Well, there's a theory that if you're hurting some or not feeling particularly well, that it heightens your awareness and concentration. You take a little more effort with the minor details, as Michael has been very precise on getting up in the air and shooting those jump shots.
Foul on Longley, substitution. Tony Kukoc sitting down. Dennis Rodman hearing it. From the crowd as he checks back in. Here's Stockton. Stockton has hit 3 of 4. He has 7. It's Utah by 7. We're halfway through the second quarter. Dennis Rodman a little bit more reluctant about taking those outside shots. Pippen able to go glass. Phil Jackson has been upset about the shot selection among other activities of Dennis Rodman.
And why not? Dennis, not a good offensive player by choice. Karl Malone trying to deliver and does.
Claiming that he was hacked by Rodman, did not get the call. The Jazz 42 and the Bulls 35. Malone has 13. Bulls have made their last 6 shots. Here's a mismatch. Hornacek got help. Pippen off the fake, dumped it over Longley. Yes, and it counts.
Oh, nice basketball by Luke Longley. First of all, when it went into Pippen originally, there went Greg Ostertag for the double team. Longley did the right thing, just following in his heels. Pippen couldn't get it to him, so he went away. And then he came back again. And it's for big men cutting to that open area, presenting a big target for that player that is double teamed.
The post-up game for Chicago really strong right now. Their free throw game has absolutely deserted them. But Pippen is scoring in the post. Jordan is passing and scoring in the post. And when big guys move, great things happen.
And Longley continues to have problems at the line. 1 of 4 the other night. Here's Malone with a wild fadeaway. Bad shot by Karl Malone.
Oh, and a worse foul.
That is 3 on Malone.
Things breaking down offensively. Terrible foul by Karl, who needs to play the whole game. He takes a disastrous shot and then comes right in. You're not going to steal that ball. Dennis has great hands and great tipping ability to himself on those rebound attempts.
Clearly a frustration. First of all, shot by Karl Malone. He's taking some wild shots. I don't think I've ever seen one like that.
Over the limit. Dennis Rodman has not scored in 2 games. A reminder, coming up Friday on Dateline, the Rat Pack is back. You can find out how the legacy of Frank and Dino and Sammy and the rest is affecting a new generation of Americans. That's Dateline Friday. Oh, what a follow. Harper thought he was fouled. Dateline Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern, just prior to Game 6 of our NBA Final Series right here on NBC. And viewers on the West Coast will see Dateline Friday after the Bulls and the Jazz. What once was a 16-point lead is down to 3. Ostertag using the ball off the mismatch.
Well, the Jazz need to keep their poise. They're going to play without Karl Malone the rest of this half. The Bulls are coming back. Shaky play right now for Utah.
4:20 left in the first half. Hornacek trying to shake off Jordan. And now Rodman defending on Karl. Karl wants to take him to the basket. Shot clock at 5. Ostertag. And it's a traveling violation. Basket will not count.
Frustration, disappointment by Karl Malone and Jerry Sloan. Chicago needs a timeout right now.
Well, coming up at halftime, the Prudential halftime report. Hannah Storm will be joined by that man, Charles Barkley of the Houston Rockets. At the moment, Charles looking on the low-key side. Charles and his teammates, of course, eliminated in 6 by the Utah Jazz in the Western Conference Finals. We'll also get a preview of the U.S. Open Golf Championship, which will get underway tomorrow at the Congressional Country Club. That is all coming up on the Prudential halftime report. 4 minutes and 5 seconds to go in this first half here in Salt Lake City, Utah. It is game 5 of the best-of-7 NBA Finals series. The series tied at 2. At one point, Utah led by as many as 16. Chicago has come roaring back. They've hit 8 of their last 9 shots. Here's Jordan for 3. Post attack, not able to handle it. And a loose ball foul is called. For the Bulls, their 4th team foul. It's on Rodman. That's his 2nd.
The wild battle for the ball. You look at Ostertag in the middle. They call that a foul? That's terrible. Ahmad just reporting from the Chicago bench and a conversation Jordan and Pippen, questioning Jordan's how he's feeling. He's feeling fine.
And that's, I would say, a relative description. And a foul as Jordan made his cut. Antoine Carr called for the push. Utah over the foul limit. So Michael Jordan spending time at the line here in this first half, in contrast to what took place in game 4.
I was a little surprised at the Bulls and Michael Jordan coming out of that timeout and settling for the 3-point shot on the pick and roll play, because Michael has been taking the ball in the basket, drawing some fouls. The officials are used to seeing that, and of course you got the Jazz in the penalty, put the pressure on them.
Michael Jordan, his percentage of the points during the season, coming up and in the finals, having to carry that load, and along with Scottie Pippen, really the only 2 guys who can say that they've been doing it.
Well, Bill, in particular with the way Chicago's offense has dipped as the finals have progressed, as the playoffs have progressed. And Jordan with 12 of his 16 points here in the second quarter. It's down to a 3-point Jazz lead. And the steal by Jordan. Putting behind the back on Russell. He turned it around and sent it to Pippen. Tipped home by Jordan. What a play by Michael Jordan.
Well, Chicago is in that mode now. Any mistake made by Utah, long rebound, steal, they are getting out and flying.
Utah's lead is down to 1. They led by as many as 16. Shot clock at 6. Foster off the double team. Bad shot. Fired it up. And the Bulls actually have a chance to take the lead. They're in the midst of a 23-8 run. Jordan putting moves on and a foul. Foul on Stockton, who was trying to draw the charge.
Well, John Stockton out of control. Passing on the move right into the hands of Michael Jordan, with Scottie Pippen filling the lane for the nice finish, and Jordan not taking anything for granted, finishing off. Stockton in all kinds of trouble, tries the Dennis Rodman flop, doesn't get the whistle there. Jordan to the line.
Michael Jordan with 19 points in all. 15 have come in the second quarter. Utah at one point led 36-20, 3 minutes into the second. And the Chicago Bulls have taken a 1-point lead with 2.5 left in the first half. And the Utah Jazz also suffering with Karl Malone on the bench after picking up a 3rd foul. Here's Morris for 3.
Everything going wrong for Utah. No leadership, horrible turnovers, no offense, and absolutely non-existent defense.
Ostertag guarding Pippen on the switch. Pippen goes right to the basket. And the tip missed by Williams. Stockton checking the floor as he brought it down in deliberate fashion and then decided to reset.
Stockton's got to take over here. Without Antoine Carr, without Karl Malone, he's got to be the offense.
Sets it up for Morris for three. Chris Morris off the bench for 8. The Jazz 47. The Bulls 45. Shot, but he lost it. Power off the steal. And last touch by Utah.
Utah is not taking care of the ball on the defensive end on the few times they do get it.
Oh, look at Phil Jackson in the face of Brian Williams. He just called a 22nd timeout, and Phil very upset.
John Stockton, when things were falling apart, looked to take it on himself to get guys open, but when Scottie Pippen collapsed, that frees up Scottie's man, Chris Morris. Nothing but net on this three. Chris Morris ecstatic. He should worry about getting back on defense and getting a rebound.
Chris Morris has spent 7 tumultuous years as a member of the New Jersey Nets. It's his second season with Utah. Averaged 10 points a game last season, but had his ups and downs and some disagreements with Jerry Sloan this season. At one point, he was actually escorted off the bench by security guards after Sloan was upset with him. That was earlier in the year. Here's Kukoc with the alley-oop intended for Jordan. Stockton running the floor. Nowhere to go. Able to dish it to Russell. Pippen with the rebound. 1 minute to go in the first half. Kukoc for 3. Yes, Tony Kukoc. And the Chicago Bulls lead by 1.
This is the best the Bulls have looked in a long time. Aggressive, great attacking defense. Kukoc stroking threes and then pounding the glass.
45 seconds remaining in the first half. Foster. And tip by Ostertag.
A very ill-advised shot by Greg Foster, bailed out by the terrific play of Ostertag.
Utah by 1. Good half for Ostertag. He has 9 points. Jordan putting moves on Russell and pushed.
Well, the Chicago Bulls are in a 2-for-1 situation. Michael Jordan, knowing the Jazz in the penalty, just dropping his head and going. No body by Brian Williams on Ostertag. No way he could. It was Ostertag having the big body between the basket and Brian Williams, as Ostertag has done a good job of following things in and around the basket.
How about the Bulls going to the line now? Following these free throws by Jordan, it'll be 22 trips to the line, only 12 in all of Game 4. And Michael Jordan, 8 of 8 at the line. Scottie Pippen getting a rest. Pippen sitting down with 8 points.
And it must be said, Michael Jordan is not feeling well. It's obvious on his face yet. Playing brilliantly.
And a loose ball foul against the Bulls, so that is number 5. They now are over the limit. It's on Williams.
Marv, you talked about the Bulls getting to the line. Michael missing the second one. Can't believe I got that guy on my team fouling people. But the Bulls are the best team in basketball at identifying what they didn't do in the last game and coming right back and changing that. They've done that tonight by getting to the line, by posting up their Pippins and Jordans. Phil Jackson, just a brilliant coach.
Well, Greg Foster, a one-time member of the Chicago Bulls, who had the best all-around game of his NBA career. Game 3 on Friday night. That's Adam Keefe, 5-year man from Stanford, who's been spotted during the course of this series. There's Foster, you see, regular season average about 3.5 per game, 11 minutes per game. Started to get playing time, though, in the Western Finals and in the NBA Finals, playing about 19 minutes a game against the Bulls. The Jazz by 2, 20 seconds remaining in this first half, and Chicago will hold for a final shot of the hand. Jordan played by Russell. Here's Jordan putting the move on. Jordan cannot hit. Final second. Here comes Russell, chased by Pippen. 1 minute 10 seconds remaining. Pippen couldn't make the cash, now recovers and fires. And that is the end of the first half.
Ahmad Rashad back at the Delta Center. A little update on Michael Jordan as he walked by me coming out to warm up for the second half. I asked him how he felt, and it was the first time I had seen a smile on his face, but the smile was looking back at me like, are you kidding? I am really sick. I asked Chip Shaver, the trainer. He said he's exhausted, totally dehydrated, and a little bit out of it. Let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Well, I'm told by the Jazz players that Jerry Sloan really threw a tirade at halftime, screaming at them, unhappy that they were up 16 and then lost the lead. Said we need more defense, transition, keep them off the boards. Says we must match the aggression and intensity of Pippen and Jordan. That's why they're going to the foul line. Final thing he told them, guys, 18 deflections in the first quarter, only 2 deflections on defense in the second quarter. Marv?
All right, thanks, guys. As you saw, Scottie Pippen able to open up the third quarter to bring the Bulls within 2. Shot clock at 5. Russell lost it. And Jordan with Pippen the trailer. Poster tag on the box out with rebound number 9.
Shaky fast break by Michael. The Bulls there actually rearranged his shot while in the air. It was the fast break of Chicago, which was so good in the second quarter.
And Brian Russell able to knock down a 3. Then very effective from the perimeter. 5 points for Russell. The Jazz 56 and the Bulls 51. We're just underway in the third quarter. Longley got the stats. Strong move by Luke Longley.
Luke Longley just in too deep. He's got a good left hand. Ostertag cannot relax. He's done that a number of times.
Utah by 3. Malone with Russell. Ostertag up front. Here's Malone getting inside. Karl Malone with 15.
Marv, in the first half, a lot of great numbers for Utah. Turnovers and fouls killed them, but Karl Malone has got to stay in that game.
Malone picked up a third foul and sat out a good portion of the second quarter. Shot clock now to 5. Pippen, played by Hornacek. Yes. Scottie Pippen has 12. The Jazz up by 3.
Michael Jordan staying on the periphery now in the opening minutes. Remember, in game 4, 0 for 4 for Jordan in the third quarter. Only 2 points in the third quarter of game 3. So this is when whatever altitude, fatigue, whatever has gotten to Michael.
And Dennis Rodman continues to have his problems with Karl Malone. That was foul number 3 on Rodman.
Jordan turns in, misses that turnaround jumper. Says, my fault, my fault. A lot of walking, standing, leaning over. Say, will somebody please make a shot so I can feel better later.
Question with Jordan, particularly if this is another game that goes down the stretch, will be his stamina when you consider the flu-like conditions. Malone, Ostertag. Ostertag was able to get inside and once again rescued the rebound. He's been controlling the boards. 11 rebounds for Greg Ostertag. Hornacek, yes.
Well, Dennis Rodman needed help with Malone. Jordan sensed it and gambled, leaving Hornacek alone, and the gamble did not pay off.
But Utah's standing. They're not cutting. They're not setting the screens, and Harper's doing a much better job on John Stockton in the third here.
Oh, the tip by Longley. And Luke Longley is 4 of 4 from the field. He has 18 points. And one stretch in the first half, Utah led by as many as 16. They had a 14-1 spurt in the first quarter. Chicago came roaring back with a 25-8 run in the second. Rebounded by Pippen. The crowd looking for the traveling violation.
Not even close to traveling.
And Pippen goes all the way. Rebounded by Malone and hands right to Stockton.
Oster tag, so huge defensively, forcing misses. Stockton backdoor.
Malone and Stockton combining. The Jazz up by 6, and Phil Jackson calls for time. Once again, we'd like to thank the folks at Miller Brewing for the outstanding views we've been getting here in Utah from the Miller Eagle. The Eagle, an airplane developed by Miller to be a unique new eye in the sky on sports television.
Well, when the ball goes into Karl Malone, at least once a game, John Stockton gets one of these right to the basket. Ron Harper gets on the wrong side, anticipating split, tries to hold on. The perfect pass, and John Stockton with the finish.
And remember what Barkley said at the half, that Stockton can beat you in so many different ways. Change your pace, change your direction. The ball right on the money, perfect pass, and the big four all delivering tonight. Scottie Pippen, I think, in the third quarter has been spectacular in the post. They should come back there. And you look at the plus-minus for Karl Malone when he's in the game. The Utah Jazz have been unbeatable.
Oh, there's Dennis Rodman with his first field goal in 3 games.
And his first offensive rebound in this one.
The Jazz 63, the Bulls 59. 7.5 remaining in the third quarter. Back for Dennis Rodman, his first field goal attempt of the night. Karl Malone not able to hit the outside shot. Hornacek broke it up. Unhappy, thought he had picked it off.
Rodman, who was told by Phil Jackson to stop shooting the wild ones and get underneath the hoop and get to work. Finally, a stick back.
Dennis Rodman being very polite to the courtside cameraman who was in his way, it should be noted, as he inbounded the ball. He was very careful.
It's a scary thought to note being nice.
Travel on Jordan. Bill Oates with the call, and the ball will go back to the Jazz.
Well, Michael Jordan unhappy with this pass by Ron Harper, as Ron Harper really never had control of it. Tried to get it to Michael Jordan, who didn't have his feet set on the wall.
The Jazz with the ball, leading by 4. Russell eluding Pippen. Rodman very active here in the third quarter.
And the Jazz not able to get to their offensive glass. Ostertag was great. Karl Malone's got the 3 fouls. Has to play very smart here.
Nice pass. Jordan to the cutting Longley. And the Utah lead is down to 2.
Oh, the best job by Luke Longley all series long of moving without the ball. When the double team comes, finding that lane, finding the open seam, and finishing.
And Longley 5 of 5. He has 10 points. A mean foul against the Bulls. It's on Harper, his third.
Karl Malone coming to double team, and Rodman just did a good enough job of getting in the way of Greg Foster to enable Luke Longley to find that opening.
Correction on that foul. It's Rodman, not Harper, so that's 4 on Rodman.
When Stockton runs that UCLA high post cutoff from the guard, you got to step out and bump him. Rodman just tripped him, though. Highly illegal.
Halfway through the third quarter. Shot clock at 5. Stockton fires the 3. Kept alive by Russell.
Marv, the Utah offense is not executing. Chicago's defense is pushing them out, forcing them to play one-on-one, and that's not their game. They got to pass and cut and screen away.
Harper reaching in, looking for the steal, and a foul is called.
Stockton's going to cut off right here. Rodman does not even touch him. Little stagger there, a little bit of acting right there. My mistake there, Dennis.
Whoa, a rare moment for our friend Bill Walton. should say a rare public moment. There are many private
Thank you,
apologies.
Mark, for clarifying.
Yes. Howard Isley has checked back in, replacing John Stockton. They double up on Hornacek, who's able to find Ostertag. Back for Hornacek. That time mistimed by Ostertag. Looking for the tip. Chicago down by 2. Jordan got the step. Jordan has tied the game at 63. We're approaching 5 minutes remaining in the third. Malone finding Isley, but has to bring it back out. Longley doing a good job boxing out. Ostertag has to come back outside. Shot clock running down. Here's Malone. And Longley rebounds. Kept alive by Harper.
Everything in the favor of the Chicago Bulls right now. The season's on the line for the Jazz.
Jordan. And Russell able to lunge for that rebound. Yes, it has come down to a best-of-3 series. The Bulls still do have the home court advantage. These two in Chicago. Ostertag with 11 points, and words between Karl Malone and Brian Williams at the aftermath to the basket by Ostertag. And double technical fouls being handed out by Bill Oakes.
Well, Brian Russell went up to shoot that basketball, and I think Luke Longley took his eye off it, the defender, and that left Ostertag wide open. Luke Longley, who has been playing well, falls asleep at low left of your screen. Oh, gee. Forearm shiver by Brian Williams, who evidently took exception to something before that, but I'm surprised Brian Williams did not get the worst of that.
And Williams still talking to Karl Malone. Karl Malone's got to forget about all this and start playing basketball. He has not had the impact that he had early.
And the technical was just called on Brian Williams. There was no technical on Malone, so Hornacek hit the tee.
Karl Malone walking away as Brian Williams keeps talking.
So the Jazz up by 3. And here's Williams. Ostertag again with the box out. Oh, dangerous pass by Isley was saved. Bad pass by Hornacek.
Chicago's defense is so good, Marv. They can just shut you down almost at will.
Nice play by Hornacek. Jordan had the move on Isley, then Hornacek came over for the recovery.
Oh, Michael had the mismatch and was signaling to his teammates, swing it around, but Jeff Hornacek coming down just in the nick of time to help out Isley to knock it out of bounds.
And Dennis Rodman hearing the boos as he checks back in, replacing Luke Longley. Longley 10 points on 5 of 5 from the field. Only 4 rebounds. Shot clock. Brian Williams. Oh, he enjoyed that one. A little stare from Brian Williams.
Brian's fired up after that technical foul. An excellent defensive play to knock one away from Malone, and he wanted that one inside.
If Utah is going to win this game or has a chance at the championship, it's got to be Karl Malone time. Guys are coming around his back. He's being pushed off the box. He has got to get to the hoop and take over the basket area. He's not doing it in the third.
Karl is trying to hold that position, which is where he wants to get it inside, but he's got to protect the passer to make sure they hold possession of the ball.
Steve Kerr back on the floor, played 9 minutes in the first half, missing on both shot attempts. Putting moves on Jordan. Crowd was looking for a foul, and then on that second penetration dribble, the foul was called. That's 2 on Michael Jordan.
And you can look at the expression on Michael's face and saying, hey, ref, you make the call. Don't let the fans talk you into a non-call here.
That was team foul number 4 on the Bulls. Jazz do not have any. Russell from blue. Yes. Brian Russell with a second three-pointer. Chicago native, born in Chicago, grew up on Chicago's south side, and then moved to California, where he began playing basketball at the age of 11. He's been an important factor in this series. And a loose ball foul indicated. It is on the ball. It is on Rodman. It's number 5 on Dennis Rodman.
It looked like Dan Crawford was first going to call a foul, then going to call no foul, just the ball off Malone, and then changed his mind one more time as Karl Malone sold it hard to the referee.
And it puts Chicago over the foul limit. So Utah to the line when we come back. Back in Salt Lake City, a look at Michael Jordan. You see the ice bag being applied to the back of the neck of Michael, who has been exhausted right from the start, playing with what are being called flu-like symptoms. Dennis Rodman just picked up a 5th foul a moment ago, and he's been playing well in this 3rd quarter. So Rodman sitting down, replaced by Jason Caffey, making his first appearance of the night. Karl Malone is headed to the free throw line. Malone is just 1 of 3 at the line. We have 2:35 remaining in the 3rd quarter. The Jazz up 69-65. And this game 5 of the best of 7 NBA Final Series. Series tied at 2. Malone missing badly on that first shot. A reminder, looking ahead on Friday, we hope you join us right here in prime time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Coast time, as Michael Jordan and the Bulls go up against Karl Malone, John Stockton, and the Jazz in what could be a decisive Game 6 of this NBA Final Series right here on NBC. So the Jazz now lead by 5 points.
Michael Jordan catching a quick breath here. Rodman with 3 phantom calls, now all reserved in the front court for Phil Jackson.
Scottie Pippen.
Great play, Brian Russell. Absolutely perfect.
Howard Isley running the team at point guard to provide a rest for John Stockton. Caffey up on Malone a bit too aggressively, and the foul on Caffey. So Malone is headed back to the line with the Bulls over the limit.
Offense for Chicago. It doesn't happen, but then Brian Russell comes over the top and taps it to himself. The 2nd, the 3rd effort. You gotta love those Long Beach State guys. Oh. Brian Russell, Bob Gross from the Portland Trailblazers.
I knew there was a Trailblazer from the 70s tie-in somewhere along the line. Yes, Brian Russell, a 2nd-round pick in '93 out of Long Beach State. Came up very big in the playoffs last year, in particular in the Western Conference Finals against the Sonics.
The Utah Jazz have not committed a foul in this 3rd quarter. Big reason for that is the Chicago Bulls have stopped attacking the basket.
The Jazz 72 and the Bulls 65. 7 unanswered points for Utah. Michael Jordan on the bench getting a rest. Tony Kukoc back on the floor with Steve Kerr. Ryan Williams getting it. And Karl Malone rebound.
Karl got away with it over the back that time. He's playing with 3 fouls. Can't give up good position to Caffey.
And Bill Oates with a double foul indication. One on Malone, that is number 4, and the other on Williams for Brian Williams, his 2nd, and Jerry Sloan pulling Karl Malone. So he sits down with 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. Isley able to make the recovery. Minute 25 remaining in this 3rd quarter. Hold a second, a quick release. Williams with the rebound. Bulls with the ball down by 7 points.
Oh, this is where the Jazz fell apart last time when Karl Malone went out with foul trouble. They've got to keep their poise.
And no Stockton in the game either.
Scottie Pippen is fouled. And he was very fortunate. He had lost the handle, but he thought he was fouled before the call was made.
along the baseline a moment ago. The double foul called here. Caffey, his 4th foul there for Karl Malone. That's his 4th. And now he's got to sit down, I would think, until about the 10-minute mark.
There's Greg Foster. Played briefly in the first half. Foster checking back in. Foster rebound. Just under 1 minute left in the third. Utah with the ball. Up by 7. And once again, they are on their feet at the Delta Center. Oh, what a move by Isley, splitting through, but came up with the air ball. Williams whiffed on that outlet attempt and was fortunate to recover. Chicago only 1 for its last 7 from the field. Pippen with the step. Here's Pippen drawing the foul. Foul on Foster. And Pippen headed to the line. A reminder, following the game on most of these NBC stations, your local news, and then the Tonight Show. And for those of you who would like to continue with the NBA Finals, we'll have a post-game special, as per usual, on CNBC. That's immediately following our telecast. The entire cast to recount the game with highlights, we'll have live press conference coverage, guests, and a whole lot more as we look back at tonight's Game 5. That's the NBA Finals post-game special on CNBC immediately following the game. 30 seconds remaining in the third. Utah by 5. Oh, Pippen nearly hit the pocket of Isley. Down to 20 seconds. 5-second differential between the 24 and the game clock. Hornacek. Rebounded by Pippen with 10 seconds in the quarter. Kerr for 3. Puntos missed on the tip. And that's the end of the third quarter. Hornacek comes off the mark on that last second attempt. 3 quarters complete here in Salt Lake City. Well, as we wind down in Game 5 and head to Game 6 in Chicago, guys, many questions concerning this particular group of Chicago Bulls. Win or lose this series, and for Chicago, it's their 5th finals appearance in the past 7 seasons.
Well, no matter what happens tonight, Friday, or Saturday, this is still a championship caliber team. And so why change anything? I don't think there's any question that Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson will be back. However, Dennis Rodman will not be.
If your motivation is money, you break it up now and you start looking. If your motivation is to keep something special going, let them play as long as they want. They're all willing to play on 1-year contracts. And I just think that this team, with the exception of Dennis Rodman, will be back primarily intact next year.
And as the fourth quarter gets underway, Brian Williams called for the foul. But still many questions concerning Phil Jackson, who has made it clear that he would accept a 1-year deal once again, although there's been so much speculation about that, and Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
Well, I think Phil Jackson wants to ride it out as long as Michael Jordan primarily is part of the Bulls, and as long as Jordan and Jackson are there, that means Scottie Pippen will be there. There's only one other coaching job open, that's the Vancouver Grizzlies, who supposedly have an offer out to Phil. I don't see him taking that under any conditions. I see him taking a year off before he does that. He'll be back in Chicago.
But still, there is the question concerning Michael Jordan. Could he be playing his final games as a member of the Chicago Bulls? We're talking win or lose here. Brian Williams hanging up with Antoine Carr. The Jazz up 74-67.
This man, Michael Jordan, is still the best player in basketball. He's on top of his game. He is so sick right now. He'd love to be lying down in a bed somewhere, and he's still playing well, although had a very quiet third quarter.
Chicago's missed 7 of their last 8 shot attempts. Reach-in foul charged to Greg Foster. The Chicago Bulls have been in a 2-2 position in the NBA Finals just once during their previous 4 title runs. That was back in '92 against Portland. And they went out to beat the Blazers 4-2. That was their their second of 4 times. It is 2-2 right now in this game number 5 as Michael Jordan cuts it to a 5-point Jazz lead. Game 6 coming up in Chicago on Friday here on NBC starting 9 o'clock Eastern. Game 7, if necessary, in Chicago on Sunday night. Chris Mars back on the floor. Had some good moments. Not there, though. Coming up short.
But he's willing to take shots. And right now, some of these guys from Utah are tightening up a bit. How long are you going to go with Karl Malone on the bench? He's looking up at Jerry Sloan and saying, put me in there, coach.
Malone playing with 4 fouls. So he's been sitting here at the start of the 4th quarter. Antoine Carr. And here is Chris Mars.
and that'll buy Karl Malone another 30 seconds or another minute of rest. Time and score will dictate when Karl Malone comes back in.
Chris Mars with 11 points off the bench. Jordan, yes, the Jazz 77 and the Bulls 71 with 2 minutes gone by in the 4th quarter.
You're talking about him leaving Marvin, not playing anymore. He's having the time of his life out there.
Well, we talked about that with him the other day, and I said, could you actually sit out next year? He claimed he could. Whether he's just positioning, we don't know. Jordan with the rebound. Jordan pops it down to Kukoc. Kukoc for 3. Yes.
Well, of course, this is not as much fun as baseball. No way.
The Jazz leading by 3.
Well, Tony Kukoc might as well only take 3-point shots. That's all he's made in the last 2 games for Chicago.
Carr's pass broken up. And Pippen able to come up with it on the deflection. Jordan fires for 3. Yes. And he's tied the game at 77. And he did it in casual form.
Poise, confidence, discipline, the exchange between Pippen and Jordan. Once, twice, right back. You do it, big guy. Pump fake, freezes the defense. The jumper, net. Then he staggers back to the bench, near exhaustion, ready to fall over. He's got his team tied now. Where is that bench? He gets there and sits back, and they put the ice bag on his neck. He won't even take the Gatorade.
He doesn't want to waste any energy. No high fives, no lifting water to his mouth. He is exhausted.
A heroic performance by Michael Jordan. He has played 35 minutes. He has scored 30 points. And the game is tied at 77. Karl Malone is back. Here's John Stockton. Chicago can recapture the lead. Utah has led by as many as 16. The Bulls at 1 point, led by 1. Russell on Jordan. Anderson cheating over. Shot clock at 7. Jordan shooting. Yes. Chicago 79 and Utah 77.
It was his burst of speed to get to the position that set it all up, and then he just outweighted Russell facial. Where's Karl Malone?
Ball played by Williams. Illegal defense for the first time against the Bulls.
Well, there's this cut across by Michael, getting open, wants to really drive, but not a good enough spacing by the rest of the Chicago Bulls, but just that little shake was able to get Brian Russell on his heels. Michael just laboring to get back to that defensive end, just trying to get to the finish line.
Brian Williams poked it away. Bulls have outscored the Jazz 12-5 in this 4th quarter. Jordan with 9 of those 12 points. Kukoc coming out to help on a double. Russell for 3. Brian Russell with his 3rd three-pointer, and Kerr and Stockton became entangled. They've had a very physical matchup these past couple of games.
John Stockton and Steve Kerr, as Kerr got his marching orders from Phil Jackson to be more physical. Oh, and that's very tough against the little John Stockton. All Kerr could do was take Stockton down.
And double technicals called on Stockton and Kerr. These two guys go back quite some time. John Stockton played at Gonzaga, had a terrific career. That's a reaching foul. Hugh Evans with the call on Hornacek. And Steve Kerr was recruited by Gonzaga. Went out to work out at Gonzaga against John Stockton and changed his mind.
Well,
Ended up going to Arizona, yes.
Stockton torched him there. Steve coming out of the Los Angeles area, Pacific Palisades. Then he gets up there on the recruiting tryout trip and was embarrassed.
Jordan for three. Kukoc able to hustle it down and fire.
The other high shot from Kukoc.
And then Kukoc deflected it out of bounds.
Chicago appearing to have the same problems they had in the fourth quarter of game 4, relying so much on Michael Jordan when the other players get the opportunity, unable to deliver.
Stockton with the step to set it up for Hornacek. Ostertag with the rebound. And last touch by the Bulls. It will be Utah ball. We have 7 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. The Jazz up by 1.
Small front line for Chicago can get beaten on the offensive glass. Brian Williams, Jordan, and Pippen are going to have to do most of the rebounding.
And the foul on Kukoc. For the Bulls, their second team foul. The Jazz also have 2.
Kukoc gets caught here on this screen, and when he realizes he's dead, he just grabs on, tries to pull Hornacek down. Easy call. 2-shot foul for Hornacek, one of the great free throw shooters in the history of the NBA.
How about Ostertag? 14 rebounds, 7 on the offensive glass. And the Jazz now leading 81-79. There's Greg Ostertag in his second season from Kansas, a #1 draft pick. Last year made major strides this season. And miss for Hornacek. Chicago with the ball, trailing by 2. Jordan trying to slow things down. You can see him motioning over to Kukoc. Jordan with the step and lost it. Brian Williams with the recovery. And another rebound for Greg Ostertag.
An unbelievable battle underneath the hoop, Marv. Guys are just flying, flailing away. Ostertag has been the best one tonight underneath the hoop.
Malone set the pick. Kerr trying to draw the foul. Williams broke up the pass. Shot clock at 3. Russell for 3. And Stockton able to reach for it. They get the new 24.
Ostertag continues to do damage to Chicago on the offensive glass, keeping balls alive.
Hornacek passed on the 3 and lost it. Here comes Pippen protecting the dribble, spinning his way, and fouled by Russell. Tonight we look back at Michael Jordan's highest scoring NBA Finals game. Was game 4 of the '93 Final Series against the Phoenix Suns. Michael Jordan with 55 points, 21 of 37 from the field. The 55 tied Rick Barry for the second most points scored in a Finals. Elgin Baylor scored 61 against the Celtics for the Lakers back in '65. In recognition of this classic moment, the Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. To check up on the condition of Michael Jordan, let's check in with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, thanks, Marv. I just spoke with Chip Traynor, the Bulls trainer, and Chip says Michael's just still fatigued, totally fatigued. He doesn't know how he continues to play, but as you watch him, he is struggling and still out there trying to give it his all. Let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. During that timeout, Jerry Sloan told his team, I'm very happy with this type of effort. It's this type of effort that's going to win the game. Then he looked right at Greg Ostertag, and he told him, get ready for the ball in front of the rim. He says it's coming to you because they're going to be double-teaming Karl Malone the rest of the way. Marv?
All right, thank you, Jim. And Scottie Pippen to the free throw line. He's 4 of 5 at the line. 5:57 remaining in the fourth quarter. And the Bulls are down by 2. What a follow-up to what took place here on Sunday night. The Jazz beat the Bulls in a dramatic finish, 78-73. Look at the Big Four, led by Michael Jordan. The game on Sunday, the second lowest scoring game in NBA Finals history, but it will go down as a classic by virtue of that finish. Utah scoring the game's final 9 points, and we have another dazzling finish developing here. The game tied at 81. Dennis Rodman back in, playing with 5 fouls. Karl Malone playing with 4. Along with a bad pass, but a foul is called. And the Jazz bailed out on that foul. Only 6 on the shot clock. It's called on Jordan, his 3rd.
Utah having a lot of trouble delivering the ball. Michael Jordan grabbing Brian Russell from behind. Karl Malone just 5 points and 3 boards here in the entire second half. Plagued by foul trouble, he's got 4.
Both teams with 3. Team foul. And pass. And the ball back to the Bulls.
And that scoring slack picked up by Chris Morris earlier and Greg Ostertag, both them with 11 points as Karl Malone's scoring is down.
Jordan being played by Russell. The grip, and it will be Utah ball. Timeout situation. Chicago 4 and a 20 remaining. Utah with 3 and a 20 with 5 minutes to go. The score tied at 81. Russell to the third line. Ostertag could not get to it.
That was Jim Gray's report. You got to get the ball into Ostertag's house and Ostertag's hands in the front of the rim. As soon as I run out of talk and think at the same time, we can move on with this game.
Rodman setting up at the high post, finding Jordan. Rebounded by Malone. Jordan, who can barely remain standing, leading the way with 32 and a foul called. The push putting Stockton on the floor, but it's a non-shooting call. Team foul number 4 committed by Chicago.
This has been the strategy for Chicago, especially in the 4th quarter, really only in the 4th quarter, running to double team Stockton to make him pick up his dribble and get the ball out of his hand.
Chicago's guards, Steve Kerr and Ron Harper, done a much better job on Stockton here tonight than they did in Game 4. Now, who's going to want to shoot here for Utah?
Oh, Malone, not what he had in mind. Karl Malone went to the air and then wasn't certain whether he wanted to pass it or shoot it, and that was the end result.
You don't win the championship unless your best player delivers at the biggest moments. Karl Malone in Game 3 was huge, going to the hoop all night long. Game 4, he settled for the perimeter shot. Tonight, with everything on the line in a game the Jazz absolutely have to win, Karl Malone, 14 in the paint, 4 points on the jumpers. But again, with just 5 points in the second half, not enough.
But Karl is still not getting those opportunities at that high right elbow, top of the key area, where he can either take or fake that jump shot and then drive it hard.
The game tied at 81. And we've been tied at 81 for the last 2 minutes. And Kerr was pushed. Number 5 on Malone. He's hurt himself with some bad fouls. Remember number 3, which followed a poor shot, and then number 4 put him on the bench for a long time.
Well, you have to go out to the open man because Kerr, even though he's shooting the ball terribly from 3, you got a chance, but you can't commit a foul like that.
Karl has always been a reach-in type defensive player. Never really played above the rim on the defensive end.
And here's Jordan trying to go glass. Pippen could not convert on the rebound. Paulson for Russell on the wing. He had Stockton on the other side, but did not see him. We're down to 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the 4th. The game tied at 81. Malone played by Rodman and double team. Pippen knocked it aside. Picked up, recovered though. Stockton for three. Same exact spot that he hit that enormous three-pointer in game 4. And he just did it with 2 on the shot clock. 3-point Jazz lead. Bulls have missed their last 6 shots. Jordan, yes. But Jazz by 1 with 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the 4th quarter.
All game long, Russell forces him left, and then he gives up an easy right-hander. Jordan is too good to allow him into the middle of the lane.
Malone backing Rodman. And a foul against the Bulls, and they're upset. That is number 6 on Dennis Rodman.
Well, the Chicago Bulls defense doing a good job of cutting off Ostertag on that cut to the basket when Longley goes to for the double team. Here, the loose ball, the scramble, everybody diving around, and John Stockton calmly, with just 1 second left on the shot clock, with the huge 3, and Michael Jordan on the move, beating Russell to the right, hanging in the air, and finishing that shot off.
And then Karl Malone in the paint, the fadeaway on the arm, clearly by Dennis Rodman, forcing the shot to be short. And now Karl Malone again at the line with everything to be determined with these 2 foul shots.
On is 4 of 7 at the line. You see the stats on Rodman in 23 minutes, 7 rebounds, only 1 field goal, 2 points. He's been replaced by Tony Kukoc.
That's that lack of discipline we were talking about early in the game with Dennis Rodman when he picked up a couple of cheap fouls. If you get Karl Malone to take that fadeaway shot, you have to be happy. Just go up and challenge it. You never want to foul on that shot.
Utah with a 2-point lead. 2:25 remaining in the 4th. The chant of MVP for Karl Malone. Oh, he barely caught the left side of the rim.
Well, fading back and falling back, but he did that the other night and still made one.
Karl Malone's guarding Tony Kukoc. This is a very difficult matchup for him. Tony, incredibly smart.
Shot clock at 5, and a foul called on the Jazz. It's on Hornacek. Team foul number 5 for Utah. So both teams are now over the foul limit. And Scottie Pippen back to the line. He's 6 of 7 at the line, and he has an opportunity to tie the game. Chicago's now 18 of 26 at the line. So they will certainly have their chances as opposed to the other night.
You look at Scottie Pippen through this final series, up and down, playing with the bad foot, the heroic performance game 1, a little down, but that was all Michael Jordan in game 2. Game 3 comes back.
Kukoc able to rescue.
Come back to Jordan, he's clapping for it.
Chicago trailing by 1. Just under 2 minutes remaining in the 4th. Remaining in the 4th. The Jazz with a 1-point lead. Hornacek at the step. Stockton for 3. And faced down by Russell. They get the new 24. And Stockton checking with Jerry Sloan. Utah good shape in terms of timeouts. 3 and a 20 remaining. Shot clock at 10. Here's Malone stepping back to the fadeaway. Bad shot that is handled by Pippen. There was plenty of time on the 24.
And Phil Jackson calling for a pick and roll. Obviously, Michael Jordan to be the ball handler.
Down to 50 seconds. Here's Longley with the pick. There's Jordan. Foul. Hit on a reach-in, and you can Just look at the body language on Michael Jordan. You get the idea he's having difficulty just standing up.
But Ostertag saves the day here as the defense broke down. Karl Malone with plenty of time on the shot clock. He can beat Luke Longley. He's fading away there. He's fading on his baseline shot from down low. He's fading on his free throws. Utah needs a timeout. Jerry Sloan needs to tell Karl Malone to go to the hoop.
Now look from overhead at the Delta Center, Salt Lake City, Utah. Marv Albert, Matt Kukas, Bill Walton, Bob Rashad, Jim Gray. Utah has won 23 straight at home, 10-0 at home in the playoffs. You see the timeouts remaining. Michael Jordan, playing despite flu symptoms, has been able to hang in, looking exhausted right from the opening tip. And he's headed to the line for 2 shots, 9 of 10 at the line. All the free throws in the first half. 46 and 5/10 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter. And it's the Jazz 85, the Bulls 84. Jordan, an 83% free throw shooter during the season. And the game is tied at 85.
Marv, the Bulls have been here so many times. The huge games, year after year. The confidence, the poise, the determination, the discipline and organization down the stretch, all paying off right now with Jordan masterfully at the line.
Jordan able to scoop up the loose ball for the possession with 40 seconds remaining. The game tied at 85. On the shot clock. Pippen backing Hornacek. Here's Jordan. Yes! Michael Jordan from straight away. He looks like he's a boxer just hanging on along the ropes, but able to hit for a 3-point Chicago lead. Beautiful feed. Ostertag cuts it to 1.
You got a foul right now. You got a foul. Karl Malone, what are you doing?
We're down to 10 seconds.
You got a foul.
As they open the floor. Longley able to put it home from Tony Kukoc. 3-point Chicago lead with 6 2/10 seconds to go in the fourth quarter.
That's hard to believe that you can lose track of time and score as Karl Malone did there right next to Pippen. He does have 5 fouls. No excuse. Should have committed one there.
Michael Jordan playing on heart and spirit. The missed free throw here. Everybody's standing there. And then the furthest guy from the ball, Michael Jordan, comes up with it. And then he backs it out. They post up Scotty. And then for no reason, they double team Scotty down low and leaving Michael Jordan. He knocks down this 3, gives him the huge lead. And then the total exhaustion on the bench. Michael Jordan sucking air, got the back massage from Scottie Pippen. I think Chicago just fouls right here. It makes it a free throw game the rest of the way.
Down to 6 2/10 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter. Here's the 3-point attempt. Now Stockton trying to back it up. And we get a whistle with 2/10 of a second remaining. Now both teams are over the limit. And the foul is called on the Bulls. So Utah to the line. Foul on Pippen. And the strategy here is obvious. The Bulls up by 3. You got to hit the first and purposely miss the second and then hope for the best.
And you can't score on a tip, but I was thinking Chicago would foul on the inbounds pass to give up the free throws rather than give Stockton or Hornacek or Russell a look at a 3-pointer.
I think you got to come with Ostertag, the height here, to tip over the top on a miss. They don't need to have Hornacek in it.
Hornacek only 2 of 11 from the field. He had that 3-point opportunity going for the tie. Both coaches making decisions now. John Stockton to the line, but only 2/10 of a second remaining.
There will be no catch and shoot follow-up. First of all, John Stockton has to make the first one to give Utah any kind of chance at all, but you can score on a tip.
Go.
positioning at the line after this first free throw will be critical. But John Stockton not able to hit, and that will do it because they're 3 points down. And now he hits the second, 2/10 of a second remaining. The inbounds, and the Chicago Bulls have defeated the Utah Jazz to take a 3-2